Oh, I was not going to stream tonight. Well, I wasn't planning on it. Depends on how I was feeling after WrestleMania. And I don't really do this. I probably shouldn't, but I understand wrestling is not meant to be taken too seriously. But when certain things you think that should happen don't happen, it kind of makes you think or wonder why you even watch it to begin with. Cody Rhodes was a white hot babyface. Babyface, good guy. Roman Reigns, white hot bad guy, heel. Uh, he was 900 something days as champion. Roman Reigns. He tonight, well, the past like few months, he's been in some good hot angles. Some stuff that WWE hasn't had in a long time. Maybe because of that, they decided to have him retain tonight. Maybe that's the reason. Gosh, my cat is, I can hear her peeing. Nasty. Maybe because of that reason, they decided for him to retain because the last 3 years, his every match he's had has been so dry. It has not been interesting or entertaining, at least to me. And they hype up his reign as being like monumental when he hasn't really done much, as in my eyes and in my opinion. I've been watching wrestling for like 25 almost years, something like that, since the late 90s. um I'm not saying I know anything about the business, the inner workings of it. I've been somewhat a part of it. But this just kills my like spirit because I love pro wrestling. Pro wrestling has been a part of my life, my whole life for the most part, since I was a child. And being someone who could take WWE to the next step, lose the match that he probably should have won tonight, it hurts to watch. It hurts to see someone who they could have made more money with as a babyface because babyfaces draw money. Now, I guess they want to get maybe another year out of this. I don't know how they could. They could, but I don't know how or why they would want to because they had the best opportunity tonight to have Cody Rhodes beat Roman Reigns and they didn't, probably because this is the most interesting Roman has been in years. with Sammy and Cody, and I guess they're like, well, they can't have Roman lose right now because he's in some good angles, which means either they're just gonna build Cody back up, they're gonna build Sammy back up, or bring in someone new like Braun Breaker, Braun Breaker, or Austin Theory. Some two guys they've been pushing from one from NXT, one on the main roster. Uh, Austin Theory just beat John Cena yesterday in a pretty not great match. Cena didn't look like he was all there, even though he's not a regular worker anymore. But he's still John Cena. At the end of the day, his name means something. So they had Cena lose to Theory, which in place, quote unquote, would make Theory uh a bigger star than he is. Uh and I heard, well, Triple H, they just did like their little media scrum thing, and Triple H said that Cody Rhodes lost tonight. This is the basically like the end of the chapter, but not the story. Even though the whole time they were like, finish the story, finish the story. Like they themselves were saying that Cody Rhodes started to. Not sure if they just went with it because it was a good tagline or whatever, but Cody Rhodes, this hurts him more than they're gonna think, and they could end up losing his like his people believing in him. Like, I'm done. Like, I can't do this anymore. They've burnt me for the last time. I've said this plenty of times before, in at least the last like 5 years, but they're at a point where they're making a lot of money, but it's not through ticket sales. It's not solely through ticket sales. It's through any other revenues they have. WWE has so many hands and so many pockets. Uh, Ticket sales aren't even like a big thing for them, even though it should be. That's what wrestling was built on, was ticket sales. And Vince McMahon took it in a different a different way. He took it in a different direction. So now WWE, I'm not even gonna say wrestling, but WWE is like they're not monopoly. They're not a monopoly anymore since AEW is around, but they're almost unstoppable for the most part. Which I don't want the company to go under. I just want them to do better, and do better means do what's right for the fans. And they do that with some matches, some people, but not what what not the big stuff. Uh, if anything, they should have had Usos retain last night, Roman retain tonight. That would have been that would have been the same outcome. It would have been the same outcome. Cody, I mean, KO and Owens and Sammy winning last night was great. It was a great moment, but that didn't carry over to today, which I had already figured last night. I was like, well, they won tonight, so that means Cody's losing tomorrow, which didn't sound right because that shouldn't be the outcome. But it was, and it's just a weird decision. And Vince McMahon weirdly coming back, putting his hand back in things. Very weird, everything that's going on over there, but that's why I don't put any faith in this company when it comes to wanting to see something good happen. Now, I don't think anything's good happened in this company in a very long time, besides like the past few months with Sammy stuff and the Sammy and Owens winning last night. That was like the only good thing that's happened in a very long time. Cody Rhodes came back last year. He unfortunately got hurt. Maybe if he didn't get hurt, the chase would have been longer, because I guess they won a actual chase, not like a 3-month chase. Even though when John Cena won the WWE title for the first time, he didn't win the Royal Rumble. He won, I don't even know what he won. I wasn't watching too much back in 05, but when they were here uh, at the Staples Center in 2005, Cena challenged JBL for the first time for the WWE title and won immediately. There was no year-long chase. There was like a few months, maybe a couple months chase from the Royal Rumble to to WrestleMania that year. So there's no sense of saying that there needs to be a longer chase, because 3 months is good enough. Like, and then and then the build up to this match, Roman and Cody only faced each other 3 times within the last like 3 months, which is incredibly dumb, because Roman takes off like for weeks at a time, doesn't show up. Well, he's not booked to show up, so he's not going to show up. The champion is not there every week, which you would think would hurt the business more, would hurt WWE more, but it doesn't for whatever reason. I have no idea why. Maybe because they they were tempering their fans' expectations with Brock for like how many years? Like 5, 6 years, when Brock was champion, never being there. Roman was always there at the time. Uh, every time he would get the title, he would lose it back to someone else, and it would be the same old, same old, same old, same old for like 6, 7, 8 years. And now they actually have something with uh people like main eventers or people who can be main eventers. I'm not gonna say Sammy and Cody are main eventers because they're not official main eventers because Roman just beat Sammy and Cody back to back. Those and I don't understand this. I really do. It's like they don't want their champion to be on the show every week, which the champion doesn't have to be on the show every week. The champion doesn't have to wrestle every week. It would be great for the champion to be there every week. And the fact that they have a champion that, just like Brock, who's there, which is crazy because Roman wasn't like this until 2020 when he got leukemia. Well, when his leukemia came back or whatever happened with his leukemia. And then he came back 2021. No, 2020. I think he went out early 2020, came back late or mid 2020 after his leukemia went in remission or whatever that happened, and he won the title off of Braun. Then I started his Universal title run. Then he beat I don't even remember who he beat for the WWE title. Who did he beat? I don't and it don't even matter. It doesn't matter at the end of the day because none of those people can even beat him. Or I'm just gonna say this: the booking doesn't want anyone to beat Roman, because they're trying to get him to 1,000 days. I don't think that's the reason. I think the reason is because they want to get more out of they want to get more out of this bloodline thing. Which was white hot. We'll see how it is tomorrow. Um, because depending on who is involved, it's gonna be Roman, KO. I mean Roman. It's gonna be Sammy, Owens, and Cody, and probably AJ or Jay White, or I hope it's not Jay White. I hope Jay White doesn't go to WWE, but we'll see. I guess. Um, I don't know who could help. Who could two pot like legit like on the peak of being a main eventer? Who could they bring in? I guess Seth Rollins. If anybody, they could bring in Seth Rollins, and then have those four versus Roman and his crew. I don't know who else they could. Roman has gone through everyone 2 or 3 times already. Roman will start off as a baby. Well, no. Did he start off as a babyface as champion? Because he was in that triple threat match. It was Braun, someone else, and Roman, and Roman ended up pinning whoever that night. I don't remember if he was a babyface at the time, but it didn't last too long. I'm pretty sure he's been mostly heel, and he's gone through every single babyface. They weren't white hot. They were babyfaces though. He went through Owens for like he went through Owens first, or not first, but like he went through Owens like back in 2021 or whatever, maybe 2020, 2021, whatever. And then he went through Owens again this year, at late last year, early this year, which means that's already twice that he's gone through Owens. Not just 2 matches. I'm pretty sure they fought multiple times over those 3 years. For the title. I don't even know who he beat. There's a long list of people who he beat, and none of those up until now have been good stories. They're just been whatever. Drew McIntyre is also one that was a real like I didn't because Drew is like a legit champion. Like, he looks like a champion. He fights like a champion, but he's not champion anymore because I think that's who Roman beat for the titles. I don't remember. Um, I don't know. I just can't. I just don't understand it. They've been pushing Roman for uh 9 years. I think 2015. Um, and he didn't start getting hot until this year. Which is which is whatever. Um, they're just booking Roman however they feel like for the most. Well, not even however they feel like. Just they're just booking him, having him win everything, beating all the baby faces and keeping all the baby faces down while he's the only one at the top. Which I don't know if it's like if he's influencing their decisions. He might be, because at the I didn't even watch his little scrum thing, his media scrum thing, but it looked like he was very happy. Which I mean, obviously he's gonna be happy about winning, but he looks like he was like he got away with something. Like he got away with murder, I guess, murdering someone's career. I really hope Cody Rhodes can bounce back, but I don't think he can. If anybody can, he can, but he loses tonight pretty in the one of the like most this match was tonight's match was one of the most uh like it started off good for like 10 minutes until Solo started to do stuff. I'm just like I just wanted this to be one versus one on one. There didn't have to be any interference at all. Um but Cody's honestly I'm gonna say this. Cody Rhodes has had matches like that in the past in AEW and all in. No, was it all in or I think it was all in where he was where it's a bunch of interference. There's a bunch of like ref bumping. Like he's been involved in a lot of matches like that, but this match shouldn't have happened the way it did. I wish it just was. If it was like a legit 1v1, I probably wouldn't be as upset. But Solo got involved multiple times. Um, ended up costing Cody the match. Usos got involved. Sammy and or KO got involved. Uh, attacking Roman. Like it was, they just threw it out. They threw it out with all that, and I was like, okay, Roman's winning. I was like, as soon as the interferences started happening, I was like, all right, Roman's winning. Ain't no way Cody's gonna win because this is how every Roman match goes for the most part. Yes, like he's using his guy. It's like I don't understand. I really just don't understand it. I wish I could, but it's just they just WWE just does whatever they want, and no matter who comes in, no matter what wrestler they get, no matter if they're popular, not popular, they're going to push whoever they're going to push. They're going to make champion whoever they're going to make champion. At this point, Cody Rhodes might go back down to mid Carter, and which would hurt a lot because he does not deserve to be a mid Carter. Triple H said he was Cody Rhodes is a main eventer. I don't think this is gonna last too long. Uh, which also Roman, uh, he does not lose, and unless it's gonna be, he's not gonna lose unless it's WrestleMania. So anytime between now and next year's WrestleMania, he ain't losing, and I guarantee it. If he does, okay, maybe I was wrong. Maybe they're gonna do something that nobody's expecting, which I could figure they do, rather than doing something that is logical. They rather subvert the expectations of the fans. They rather have they rather lose their goodwill with their fans and make Roman beat Cody tonight, and then have something like Roman faces who I don't even know who who's on, I don't even know, like Braun Breaker on SmackDown for the title, and have Braun beat him. They'll do that. Like that I can see them doing that, which is that's just their thing. They do whatever they want, and I thought that was gonna be out the window when Vince left, but he came back, and I don't know what his actual role is. I don't know if he's actually like booking or telling them, hey, I'm not cool with Cody Rhodes winning tonight. Keep the title on Roman. He might have that sort of thing going on, which I can see. Which is just weird to me how someone who can't people who can't read the room and be like, okay, yeah, it's Cody's time. Like we're putting the titles on him tonight, and this feels like 2017, 2018 when Cody was almost there. Like he almost won the Money in the Bank. I was that's that at the time, like 2017, 2018, whatever it was. That was like my like breaking point with Cody because I was at the point where I was like, he's not ever gonna be world champion unless he wins Money in the Bank or the Royal Rumble or whatever. Mostly Money in the Bank because that when we people who win the Money in the Bank are the people who you would never expect or need help getting over. At least they should be. That's what that uh that's what that match should be for. Who people who need help getting over, people who whatever. The last few years haven't just been garbage. Everything's been garbage about WWE for the most part. The last like 3 or 4 years, maybe longer than that. Um, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I wanted to start watching WWE product. I mean, WWE programming again after Cody Rhodes came back last year. Before then, I was watching like only like big shows. That was it. I was not watching Raw, SmackDown, NXT, nothing, because there was no point. There was nothing happening on any of the shows. Every week was the same stuff, same stuff, same stuff. And their audience has been getting lower and lower because of it. It's been high recently because WrestleMania season. Between Royal Rumble and WrestleMania, their viewership goes up, and then throughout the whole other like 9 months, it goes really low. It gets really low for them, um, and they think they'll come back around WrestleMania season. 3 months. That's all they really care about for the most part. Throughout the whole year, they only care about those 3 months, which is ridiculous. Um, they do that, and then yeah, I don't know how they're gonna get away with Roman feuding. Who's he gonna feud with? There's nobody he's gonna feud with. He has I don't know. I don't know who else is lined up. They can get another Cody Rhodes match. Have Cody lose again. They can get another Sami Zayn match. Have him lose again. They could turn Jay. They could turn Jay, and then have him lose to Roman. They could do whatever they want, but there's nobody really lined up. There's nobody that they have that's lined up. They don't. Um, there was rumors about Kenny Omega's contract coming up, and I don't, I don't really know why or yeah why Kenny would want to go to WWE. Maybe if he can get a easier schedule than most people, he could. If that's what he really wanted to work a lighter schedule, um, WWE has lighter matches, 100% than AEW, but AEW has a much lighter schedule than WWE does because they just started running live events, but it's not they don't do that many. They do them they don't do them every week like WWE does. They do them like once or twice a month. They're going to be doing them. I don't know how often they're going to be doing them compared to like WWE's like 2 or 3 times a week or whatever. 2 3 house shows that random people be on. I don't know. I've never been to one. So I don't know how they book them. Never paid attention to house shows in my whole life. I've like seen like some results at house shows, like when I used to keep up with WWE stuff, like when I was a teenager. But I don't really care too much about house shows. Nothing. This is extra matches. No stories or anything. Just going to a show, having fun or whatever. Um. Anyways, Cody Rhodes, he could bounce back, but I know this hurts him a lot down inside. Maybe I don't know how people's mindset is. Um, Roman has nothing to be worried about. He's never really had anything to be worried about for the most part since he's been on the main roster. He was the weakest member of the Shield back in 2012. Then Shield broke up. They pushed Rollins for a little bit, and then ever since then it was Reigns until people were sick of it, which didn't take long because he didn't bring much to the table. Like he you could see there was something there, but he didn't bring much to the table. Tonight, this is probably the most pro wrestling match Roman has ever done, probably in his life. Like this is probably like the most like no, well I guess the last 2 months, the last two pay-per-views, like the most wrestling Roman has probably ever done in his life. Um, and those were back to back, and he just started to work. He really just copied Brock. Like that's all he did was copy Brock, and that's also another person, or another person he beat multiple times, which is interesting because Brock never really lost to Roman until like at least like this until recently. But was that the last year's main event? I don't even remember. I don't even remember. Um, I don't know. Yeah, Reigns really just copied Brock's main event match style. Like main event matches up until I guess the Cena era. Even though I loved Cena's matches, I loved watching John Cena. I did. I'm a huge John Cena fan. I loved watching his main event matches at WrestleMania. Um, just watching him in general because he's very unorthodox with his wrestling. But at the same time, you see that he wants to be there. He wants to be champion. He's doing everything in his power to get people over and make sure that business keeps going. But Roman, it just that's not the same thing. I feel this feels like he's there to do one match, go home for like however long, come back 1 week, leave for another. Like I don't think John Cena really ever did that, unless he was making movies. But I don't think Roman's making movies. Maybe I would hope not. Maybe he's having treatments for his leukemia still. I don't know. Um, I don't know. I haven't heard anything about that since it happened back in 2021, 2020, whatever year that was. When he is having those problems. But that's all I can really think why he would be missing so many shows unless he just has a deal where he wants to be like he wants a deal where he can work so many dates and be with his family like he wants to be with his family for the most part, be a family man. But at the same time, be put the business first. Like if you're not going to be there, have a champion that's going to be there. Because with what AEW does recently with MJF isn't there. Like he's probably not there 1 week out of the month, and when he is there, he does a little promo. He doesn't wrestle majority of the time, but he's at least there. When Hangman was there, Hangman was wrestling all the time. Kenny Omega was wrestling all the time. Um, John Moxley wrestling all the time. Punk wrestling majority of the time, unless he was hurt, which he was during his whole title reign for the most part. Um, Jericho wrestling all the time, on TV all the time, doing promos, building stories, doing everything in their power to make sure that we know the championship means something. Having Paul Heyman carrying your titles around when you're not there, that hurts to see because Paul Heyman is not the champion. Roman Reigns is the champion. He is he should care, or he should want to be like, hey, if I'm not going to be there, have someone else be the champion. But maybe it's obviously not his decision, but I'm sure he has some influence in his booking. Maybe not. I don't know. Um, I don't know. I don't really do streams like this. I don't really talk about wrestling on stream unless like I'm streaming and I randomly talk about wrestling. But I don't really like. I mean, I not like it, but I love talking about wrestling. I love it. It's been my life for my whole life for the most part. But when bad things happen, is really bad. And if I have the feel to, if I have the need to talk about it, that means it's bad. When I'm feeling good about wrestling, I do want to talk about it, but I don't feel the need to like actually talk about it. But I don't know. I don't know what could be next for WWE. Um, I I don't know. I have no idea. Uh, Tonight just it made me realize that probably more than any other night that I've been let down by this company, that I need to not put faith in anything that they do until the person loses or wins. I need to go into something that they're doing. I'm glad I didn't go because it's right down the street for me. Like 30 minutes. I could be there, well, without traffic, 30 minutes. Probably like 40 minutes with traffic because I went to the Ring of Honor show on Friday. Had a great time. Booking, I wish certain people won, but I wasn't too upset because there's always moments down the road that they can be built back up to. That's fine. This is WrestleMania. Cody Rhodes won the Royal Rumble. This I don't even know how many people who won the Royal Rumble, at least recently, who won the Royal Rumble and then won the title at Mania. It hasn't happened in 3 years at least because Roman has beaten every challenger for the last 3 years. Um, since 2021. Uh, so like at least they're consistent with letting people down, letting people who've been watching since they were children, laying them down on like this is ooh, I don't even know what I could describe, like what I could um what is it called? What I could compare this to. I guess it would be like ooh, I gotta go in. It would be like Eddie Guerrero winning the Royal Rumble in 2003. He didn't, but it would be like him winning the Royal Rumble in 2003, going on to face Kurt Angle at WrestleMania. Uh, no, 2004. I would say 2004, not 2003. That's when he won the title and at No Way Out or whatever. That would be like Eddie Guerrero winning in 2004 and then losing to Kurt Angle when everyone is behind Eddie at the time. That would be like losing to Kurt Angle at WrestleMania in 2004, which Eddie did beat Kurt Angle at WrestleMania for the title. Well, not for the title, but he retained the title that night because everybody's behind him. He's white hot. Everybody loved Eddie. Everybody loved. Well, a lot of people loved Cody tonight. He's very popular. Ever since coming back to WWE, everyone loves him. I love him. I never stopped. Because he has a very good mind for pro wrestling. He has a really good wrestling style that not a lot of other people can hang with. Well, not can hang with. Everybody can hang for the most part as long as you have enough training and enough experience. But Cody Rhodes has always felt like he had something to me. Not just him being Dusty Rhodes' son, but he loves pro wrestling. He if he left WWE back in 2018, what year was that? Was it 2017, 2018? I don't remember what year. Um, if he left and went to like do movies, I wouldn't say he didn't love wrestling, but that means like he wanted to do something else other than wrestling. But he didn't do that. He did like do some shows and stuff, but his main focus, his main goal has always been this business, and that's love. Like he loves pro wrestling. Um, he went and started AEW, did All In, went to Ring of Honor, went to New Japan Pro Wrestling, went to the Independents, PWG. He did everything within those years until 2022. Yeah, 2022. Um, he went and made himself star. He went and made himself larger than life. He went in and bet on himself. And last year he went through Rollins multiple times, got injured unfortunately, came back at Royal Rumble, won the Royal Rumble. What's next for him? If he lost tonight, well, since he lost tonight, what's next for Cody Rhodes? Um, Most likely this bloodline stuff is going to continue, but Roman ain't losing until WrestleMania. There's absolutely no way Roman loses anytime between now and next year, WrestleMania. People are like maybe any of the big four pay-per-views, Survivor Series, SummerSlam, WrestleMania, Royal Rumble. Roman ain't winning, and Roman ain't losing unless it's WrestleMania. I thought that this year, but apparently I was wrong. Like I figured I would be, because with this company they do the opposite of what probably should happen. Um, and then they get defensive when we're like, why did you do that? Like, why did you do something so? Why didn't you do the obvious good outcome for once in your life? And they're always so defensive, like you guys don't know what goes on. And what Triple H said, he was like, he didn't get very defensive about it, but he got defensive. He was like, he basically avoided the question while answering it. I don't know if y'all want to look it up, it's there. But I don't know. I've been watching this way too long. AEW has never ever let me down with their booking. The past All Out, from All Out, well, anything before All Out, maybe between Double or Nothing, when Hangman and CM Punk stuff was going on, all the way to All Out last year. That was like some stuff that probably should have been avoided, but it wasn't booking's fault. It was the wrestler's fault. So I don't fault Tony Khan for some stuff going down, um, and getting, like, having that setback, because it's not his fault technically. Um, but the wrestling business, especially in a company like AEW, um, you gotta do business. And I don't know. I don't know anything about the situation, so I'm not even gonna speak on it. Obviously, so, but anyway, AEW's never let me down. AEW has been there for me since 2019. I haven't missed a Dynamite, haven't missed a pay-per-view. And if I do miss Dynamite, I just catch up on it. If I miss some parts of it, I catch up on it. Because I love this show. It's fun. It's a good time. I've been to both AEW shows back in LA. I went to Ring of Honor that they just had in LA. Never let me down. It's not hard. Maybe if and the thing is, like, MJF is champion right now. He beat John Moxley. He's a heel, and he's most likely not going to be losing until, I don't know. I wouldn't say next year, but he might have the title for a long time. Which, it is what it is. He'll go through Hangman if he needs to. He'll go through Kenny Omega if he needs to. If they're doing all that. Um, I guess we'll see with that. But no matter what happens, I'm not gonna be let down because at the end of the day, Tony Khan books the logical way, even if it is predictable. Which, as long as I get a good match, a great match, and a great story, if it's logical, then there's nothing wrong with it. The AW has never had that problem, which is the craziest part, because Tony Khan is a very inexperienced, well, was an inexperienced booker, but now he has a good team. I feel, and the people that he's hired since AW first started, he doesn't have a creative team, which you don't really need one in wrestling. You don't. You don't need writers. You don't. Um, you don't need people writing your promos. Um, you just gotta go out there and make magic work. And if it don't work, there's always next week. Like, it's taking them some time for certain people like Jungle Boy, Sammy Guevara, not Darby to the most. Sorry, Darby's been usually like pretty good, and he's gotten better over the last few years. But it's really taken Jungle Boy, Sammy, and others, other women and other men in that company to get better at stuff throughout the years. And hopefully, with the house show stuff, they get better in the ring, and they can do like uh they can do promos on live events and do whatever they want and get better at it in front of a live crowd, so that when the cameras are on, they're they're even better than they were last week. Which, oh, well, they're better faster than they were last week compared to like not having um house shows and stuff to get better at certain things, because a lot of people in AEW are young. There's a lot that that roster is very young. They have some older people like Jericho. Kenny Omega's almost 40 or maybe early 40. I don't think he's 40 yet. I think he's like late 30s. He might be turning 40 this year. I don't remember. But they have veterans, people who've been around for 20 plus years wrestling, even though some of those people are even young too. Like the Young Bucks been wrestling probably 20 years at this point, and they're in their mid to late 30s. Um I don't know. AW's never let me down. I don't think Tony Khan could let me down. I pray that he's healthy and continues with AEW for a very long time, forever, hopefully. Because that company really saved my my love for wrestling. If without AEW, I would probably still be watching WWE, but how I was back in 2020 when I was just watching pay-per-views. That's it. Well, at least big pay-per-views or matches with big pay-per-view with big or matches pay-per-views with big matches on them. Because I can't really stop watching wrestling, but AW really just I buy all their pay-per-views. I buy them. I don't watch them for free. Because I want to put money into a product that deserves it. Um, I'll probably cancel my Peacock membership. There ain't no point. I'm not gonna watch any of their premium live events or pay-per-views or whatever anymore after this. Um, unless it's free. I'm just gonna go to one of my websites, watch it for free. I don't really care. Um, they don't deserve my money with booking that is so easy to do, but they want to make it very difficult for their fan base to uh to get behind. Only because they want to get more money out of it, I guess. I guess what do you like like with as much interference that happened in this match, it would be logical for Cody to get another match. Okay. But Roman ain't losing until next year's WrestleMania. So that Cody Rhodes ain't about to come out tomorrow and be like, I'm challenging Roman Reigns the next year's WrestleMania. He ain't about to do that. He's gonna challenge him for the next pay per view or the next big pay per view, which probably will be SummerSlam. And that ain't happening either. So what do they do with Cody for the next 4 months until SummerSlam? What do they do with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens? Usos are gonna be there. They're there every week, so they're gonna be there. So they're gonna feud over the tag titles. What else could they do? The story is there. That chapter at WrestleMania is used for that. That's like the cutoff for a lot of, or it should be the cutoff for every single storyline. So some storylines continue after WrestleMania sometimes, but for the most part, majority of the stories should cut off at WrestleMania, and then the new WWE year starts on Raw the next day. That's how it used to be. Recently, a lot of storyline. I don't even. I don't. I don't know. I don't remember. I know there's been like some DQ finishes at WrestleMania for the WWE title recently. I know AJ and Shinsuke had one, I think, or maybe AJ just beat out Shinsuke and then Shinsuke low blowed him or something. I forgot. I don't know. I'm tired. I would like to stream Resident Evil. I have my PlayStation on, but I don't think I have the energy to play it tonight. Honestly, I don't know what I want to do though. I would like to stream something, but I ain't really got nothing. I really don't have anything to stream or that I would want to stream tonight because Resident Evil is gonna take all my energy, and I already have little for the from today. Past 2 nights of WrestleMania, I wasn't really like yes. Like in my home, I'm usually like getting into it, but I've just been watching it like it's just a normal show, and because I'm not invested in anything besides that main event tonight. Um, I wanted LA Knight on the show because he's a LA guy. He's made his name in this area. He didn't have to have a match. He could have just came out, did a promo. Um, but they didn't have Stone Cold. They usually have legends and stuff on WrestleMania, but they didn't really do much. Which I mean, I'm not too upset about it because that's just fluff. That's just filler. Filling time for until they can do whatever they're gonna do for the next match or whatever. Um, I don't know. This is just a weird vibe. This WrestleMania, and now I know why. Like we got one good thing, and that was a Sammy and Kevin Owens thing. Even though I feel like Sammy was way more popular than Kevin Owens the last few months. It feels like it was more Sammy's thing than Owens's thing, but they made the right move for the most part. If they were gonna give Sammy anything, it was gonna be this what happened last night. Um, I don't know. I didn't want. I'm just not a WrestleMania review either. It's just main event of WrestleMania thing. Um, or the main storyline of this year's WrestleMania, which includes the whole bloodline, includes Sammy, Owens, and Cody. Doesn't really include anyone else. So if Rollins get involved tomorrow or gets involved, um, comes in with because Cody and Seth are like they had their little blood feud last year, so um doesn't really make too much sense to bring in Rollins the team with Cody and Sammy and Owens, but it does make sense because he wants the titles. What's next for him? He beat Logan, someone who is not a regular worker. He was feuding over the U.S. title, which what is I'm sure they have everything planned out for the most part, unless Vince is booking it and he's like, I don't want this Never mind, I changed my mind. I want this. Never mind, I changed my mind. I don't want to do this. We're gonna do this. Oh wait, show's about to start. Oh wait, we'll do this instead. Then like 5 minutes before that thing is supposed to happen, he's like, no, 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 never mind. We're doing this. I'm for sure this time. And then when they're out in the ring, they call audible. They're like, okay, never mind, change my mind. Hey, Vince has changed his mind. You do this, and then they do whatever until you can't change it anymore. That's what it feels like happens every like for like the last I don't know how many years. Really bad, really bad. I've been rambling for an hour almost about just this main event. Everything else on the show, whatever. Like I'm cool with. I'm not really. I wasn't really invested in anything else for the most part besides this main event. Um, I was watching it. Things happen. Cool things happen. It's cool, but nothing really felt really worth it. Not worth it, but nothing really felt like it mattered to me besides this main event. Because I'm sure they just want to get more storylines out of this bloodline stuff. Probably eventually turn Jay and probably Jimmy. I don't know if Jimmy goes with it, but probably turn Jay down the line, face Roman again for the titles, like he did back in 2021 or 2020. I don't remember. I don't remember. Whenever he fought Jay, and they were just yelling at each other the whole match, the cell match. Probably gonna do that again in front of a live crowd, as it with a babyface Jay and a heel Roman. I don't think they turn Roman babyface and then have him go through the heel. That's what I was thinking was gonna happen. Maybe like last year around this time, I was like, maybe not last year, probably like 2021, 2020, probably early 2022. I was like, Roman's gone through everybody, all baby faces. Maybe they flip him, have him turn heel, go through all the heels, and then just watch rinse and repeat after enough time has passed between the people he's fought. And then earlier after the main event, I was like, it's either gonna be Austin Theory, who they're trying to push, Braun Breaker, who's most likely coming from NXT to Raw or SmackDown this week. Um, it would be great if it was LA Knight, but it's not. It's not gonna be LA Knight. There ain't no way. I wish it could be, because LA Knight is very, very charismatic. He's very over right now. He's very popular. Um, it won't be him though. I don't think he'll ever be champion. I wish he could, but I don't think he will be. Unfortunately, he'll probably be Intercontinental or US, but other than that, I don't think he wins the world title at all, because he's not an established um main eventer, and he's up there in age. So I think he's in his maybe late 30s, early 40s. Maybe at the most early 40s. Um, I don't know. I think I'm so tired tonight because I played Smash earlier before WrestleMania started, and that took a lot out of me. I don't know why I even wanted to play Smash. I wasn't having a good time, but I played it for like 2 hours, and then I started to like not feel good after that. And then I watched WrestleMania, got my composure. Um, didn't really enjoy the show. The show itself wasn't even all that great tonight compared to Saturday. Um, I don't know. I don't know what I should do right now. If I should just end the stream or what. And I get it. Being a wrestling fan, or no, being a WWE fan is incredibly. You have to have a lot of dedication. Some people, it's weird. It's like some people don't care about the booking. Some like feels like the people who they cater towards don't care about the booking, which means they don't care who wins, who loses, even if they're interested in. I mean, if even if they're invested in the babyface or the heel, or mostly the babyface. The babyface is the one that's supposed to be the money drawer. Well, the heel is the majority money drawer. You're paying to want uh to see the heel get beaten for the title, and Cody Rhodes probably made this one of the most like profitable, at least ticket sales, attendance sales. He probably made this one of the most profitable WrestleManias of all time because he was the one that people expected, and that going into this match that nobody could this is like the first match in a very long time of Roman's title run that it was unpredictable. And at the end of the day, it was the predicted well, it was the unpredictable moment was Roman winning, which is opposite of what his matches usually are. Usually he fought Kevin Owens at the Royal Rumble. Kevin Owens ain't winning. He didn't win. Who else is he? Sammy was also one that people were like, it can go either way. But at the end of the day, Roman wasn't losing at not WrestleMania. So this is like the first match and first WrestleMania match in a long time where you would think Roman would lose, and he didn't. So I am long-winded tonight. Um, Maybe next year Cody Rhodes gets it. Maybe after the bloodline implodes, which probably should have been the storyline this year. Maybe not because the bloodline like just started to get white hot. Like the past like 4 or 5 months with the Sammy stuff. Um, we'll see. I don't know. It's Triple H, by the way. I listened to this earlier. I think I talked about it earlier.
Story. 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 Just sold. Story. Story.
So, like I just said, in wrestling, you pay money to see the babyface win. The babyface doesn't always win, but when they do win, they should win. Um, and Triple H just said it's what did he I don't even know, what did he just say? Said he said basically 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 he wants um the story to go on. He wants to get more money out of this. Um, so that means the next match of Roman that people pay for, Roman's gonna win. He ain't losing until WrestleMania. He's not losing. They're gonna get another year's worth of your money out of this storyline. At least another year's worth for just this storyline. I doubt Cody wins anytime between now and WrestleMania. Now and next year's WrestleMania. Because like WrestleMania is WrestleMania. Like you don't have your biggest babyface lose a match that they should have won at WrestleMania. And he said about the story thing. finishing the story. Yeah, like the story, his story, Cody Rhodes' story is done. He lost tonight. I guess he's gonna be like the next chapter of the story. Like, no, there's no next chapter. This is the end. Hello, like this is the end of the story. It's finished. But he just said this in WWE story never finishes. Like, no, that's not what it means. Like, it doesn't mean that okay, tomorrow is another day to work, another day to get money out of you guys. So we're gonna continue this story until we say that it's not gonna it's not, until we say it's done, basically. And that moment never even come. But he wrote, I mean, Roman Reigns has so much heat built up from the last 3 years of people. He's never given anyone their heat back ever. He took Sammy's heat. He's taking Cody Rhodes' heat. He's taking their popularity, and he's making it seem like the next time they face him, they ain't gonna win. It's simple. That's what's happened the last 3 years. Roman Reigns has won, and nobody beats him. Not even in tag matches. Not even in anything. Nobody pins him ever. It's weird. It's really weird. Like how that company thinks. I can never want. I can never understand like their philosophy behind things, behind their decisions. Like what goes into to saying like like you would think that the best outcome of tonight would have been for Cody Rhodes to be the champion, so the champion could be on the show every week, show off the titles, show off, make him do travel and do interviews and promote the brand. But WWE themselves promote their own brand. Like their champions are aren't really like I don't know. It's like John Cena was a great spokesperson for WWE. I think John Cena got this company to where it is today, which is a good thing and a bad thing because now they're at a point, they're at a height that is they're self sustainable for the most part. They make their money regardless of the ticket sales, regardless of who watched the show. They were down to like 1.4 million viewers on Raw, which was almost as good as like AW's best TV rating. Demographic probably like 0.4 something, 0.5. No, not even that high, probably like 0.4 something, which is like the male demographic, like the males like 18 to 39 or whatever, 18 to 49, whatever graphic, I mean whatever thing it is. Which is important because they have that means that a decent chunk of people are young that are watching the show. Um, I'm pretty sure that's what that means. I don't know. I don't keep like ratings interest me when they're good, but when they're okay, they don't really dishearten me or anything for AEW at least. But WWE used to do like 3.0s, 4.0s, 5.0s, 6.0s, 7.0s, and now they're all the way down to 1 point something, which is, and I'm sure like it affects them, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm talking about stuff that I shouldn't even be talking about for the most part because I don't really care too much about that side of the thing. This was supposed to be about just the main event, but I don't know. I can't. I just don't understand. Yeah, it's yeah, WWE's gonna make. What's up, chaotic? Feel like this WrestleMania was really good, but a lot of matches were mid. Um, the first night had a lot of good matches. Um, second night, I don't even remember what happened tonight, honestly. Um, I only really cared about the main event, and I talked about it for like the last hour, but it doesn't make any sense. My top three was Rhodes match, triple threat, and the Edge match from tonight. I like the Charlotte and Rhea match from yesterday. That was really good. Um, the tag match was also decently good yesterday. Probably not the best match of the night, but it was really good yesterday. Seth and Logan surprisingly was pretty good too. Tonight, um, oh, for the whole show. Okay, yeah, okay. I didn't really care for the Edge the cell match because Finn got busted open with the ladder, and then they spent like 5 minutes working on him. Like I get it, gotta keep your your uh your wrestlers safe. Make sure they're not like concussed or something. But they should just let them bleed. I get it. They have sponsors. They have people who probably would frown at the sight of blood, even though it was an accident. They should have just had them just bleed. The match was a cell match. That would have added to the match, if anything. Um, they never had a problem with it for like the last 20 years, but maybe like the last like 5 or so years, someone would get busted open, and then they would like stop the match, work on the person, and then the match would get rushed, and then the match would end up turning out how tonight's match turned out. I didn't really care too much for like up until then. It was fine, but like Demon Finn should not be losing. Um, it sucks. Like Demon Finn has been treated horribly on the main roster. Ever since he got called up, Finn has been okay, but Demon Finn should have been unstoppable. I guess they had like a fiend. Yeah, his blood could have easily been. Yeah, yeah. He had red on his face already from his paint, but I don't know. I think it would have been cool to see Finn like bleeding after that moment, and him being in his like demon gimmick would have been cool to see. But they cleaned him up, they stitched him up within like 5 minutes. Then they continued the match, and then Edge won. Almost. It was pretty quick that between then and the end of the match. But yeah, I didn't really care too much for the main event. It was too many interference, so much interference. Um, which means like Roman did not win on his own, which he hasn't in a long time. It's always been interferences in his matches, which sucks because this is how WWE gets their money out of people. This is how they keep the titles on Roman, because people are going to pay to see someone beat Roman. But if Roman doesn't when he doesn't lose, they're going to continue and continue and continue until like he's Roman has gone through everybody 2 or 3 times already over the last 3 years. He's gone through every baby face, but the most important and the most interesting he's been as champion was the last 3 months. He hasn't been nearly as interesting as a character until the Sammy stuff started happening, which is crazy to say because he's been champion. That he's their champion, and you would want your champion to be in more high profile like matches where you think he's not going to win. But Roman has been in matches that were predictable and were not a good kind of predictable, but a predictable like he's going to beat Kevin Owens at the Royal Rumble. He's going to beat Seth Rollins at whatever he faced Seth Rollins at last year. This Cody Rhodes match and the Sami Zayn match were like the two out of his whole 3 year championship reign. Those two matches were the only ones where we're like, okay, he may lose tonight, but he didn't. So I don't know who else they can get for him besides like Jey Uso, Austin Theory, Braun Breaker, someone who he hasn't faced before. But for the most part, everyone who he's faced before probably are not gonna win. Even Cody, which sucks because I really wanted Cody to win tonight. He was my like this was my tipping point, and I'm at the other side of it right now. I know this is probably never happened, but the only person I want to be Roman Reigns, but nah, Punk ain't going back. Ain't no way. Punk is trying to get back with AEW, but AEW, his whole thing with AEW is like up in the air right now because of the things he's said and posted online, and he's not making things better for himself, but he's still trying to get back in with AEW because he's still signed there, but he's not just on TV. They don't. I guess Tony Khan doesn't want to bring him back yet or something. No, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure Roman's fought Orton. I'm pretty sure he's fought him within like the first 1 or 2 years of him being champion. Yeah, Cody absolutely should not have lost. The only reason why I would say he lost is because they're gonna get more money out of people to see him face Roman again. But Roman is not losing unless it's at WrestleMania. Tonight would have been the perfect night to do it. And then, because Roman is not there every week, Cody is going to be there every week. Um, he's, I guess they just want a champion that's never going to be there because they were like this with Brock Lesnar too. When Brock was champion, he was never there. Only defended on pay-per-views, never there weekly. Has Paul Heyman talk for him. He's basically Brock now, which is weird because he was Brock's like only. He's the only one that's faced Brock for like the most part for like the last like 10 years for the most part. Well, almost 10, maybe like 8 or 9 years. I don't know. I've talked about all this already earlier in the stream, but I'm just disappointed. Well, I'm not even disappointed. It's just dumb to me that they could have had Cody be champion and probably got them like move them on from Roman. Ronda winning? That match didn't really matter, honestly. That was just a little tag match. Because there was nothing on the line. It was just a match for everybody to be on the show. Um, and Ronda, I'm pretty sure she has like a broken arm or something, so she didn't wrestle at all until like the end of the match. She has something going on. So I heard she had a broken arm or something, but she looked fine to me tonight. But she didn't wrestle at all in the match until the very last moment. Shayna looked like she got hurt too because she was limping. So and her one of her shoes are off or something like that. I don't know. I don't know. The booking was all over the place. Unless it has anything to do with the bloodline, the WWE doesn't really have solid booking with their matches. At least that's what WrestleMania showed me the last 2 days. 'Cause I don't watch weekly. I try to, at least I tried to. Um, ever since Royal Rumble because I'm interested in Cody. I've been a fan of his for 15 years, 14 years, something like that. Ever since he debuted in WWE, I was a big fan of his because he looked cool, he looked interesting. And then what they've done with him over the years was interesting until he left. I kept up with everything he did when he left the AEW and Indies and all that. Came back as he was white hot. Like there was nobody in in the WWE that was felt like it was on his level, which says a lot because Roman went through everybody um, and then some. Uh, then Cody Rhodes coming back, being like he was the one. It felt like, and he wasn't. Not tonight. Maybe at some point, maybe, but not tonight. Not when it should have been. And I don't know. Uh, I'm tired. So tired. There could be some good comebacks. I probably won't have that. I could see being Roman, but Cody was really that guy. Honestly, I don't know who. Well, they're trying to get Rock, but I don't think Rock would. I don't know why WWE would want to put the titles on Rock unless they get the whole like rematch with Roman and Rock at the. They're trying to get Rock and Roman for next year's WrestleMania. They wanted it this year. They didn't get it for whatever reason. I guess Rock just didn't want to or couldn't, too busy, whatever. They want it next year, but if it doesn't happen next year, they're gonna keep trying until they can. So Rock just is too old or whatever. Um, I don't. Roman does not need to be champion for that match at all. Um, because if Rock wins, then Rock takes the titles to Hollywood, doesn't come back for a year. Like it doesn't make sense for Roman and Rock to face for the titles. So that it is what it is with that. Um, I don't know who else they could bring in. I know rumor was Jay White, who's a popular New Japan Pro Wrestling wrestler. Well, not really an indie wrestler, but he's wrestled for AEW before. But yeah, New Japan Pro Wrestling guy, popular. They're thinking, well, the rumor was he was going to WWE, but also the rumor was he was going to AEW also. So we're not really sure where he's going until maybe tomorrow or Friday on SmackDown. I don't know if he would debut uh this week coming up, but he might. There's nobody else on that active roster right now that Roman hasn't faced and that Roman hasn't beaten. Nobody, I'm pretty sure, unless it's like Braun Breaker from NXT. Um, Honestly, I don't know. I don't know who else. There's nobody else. Kevin Owens has faced him multiple times. Sammy's only faced him once, lost. Cody Rhodes faced him once, lost. Unless they do a triple threat, or they turn Jay, which they might end up turning Jay at some point. But would Jay be the right call over Cody? I don't think so. But if they want to do like a family thing, have Jay face him, have Jay beat him, uh, because they're imploding from within or whatever. I don't know. I don't know because Jay faced him uh, before the bloodline stuff started happening, like right as it was happening. So I don't know. Maybe Jay get his win. I don't know. Kind of tired. Kind of tired. Um, I talked about this enough tonight. It feels like. I have a Steam Deck now, so I've been playing Final Fantasy 13 too, which I love that game. I've been replaying through it. I only played through it once, and I'm playing it on Steam, and I'm enjoying it a lot. I'm enjoying my Steam Deck a lot. It's very good. It's a very good um investment. I just saw a video and Roman is in the ring and the caption is there's only one person that could stop Roman and it's Roman himself. It's 20 like 14, not even 2014. It's like 2015, 2016 Roman Reigns. That's challenging current day Roman Reigns. At this point, I'll believe that more than I'll believe anybody else beating Roman for the titles. I could see 2015 Roman Reigns coming back in time. Fast forwarding to his future, going to the future and facing this Roman Reigns for the titles, and that Roman Reigns losing. Oh, at this point, that's probably more likely to happen than anybody else getting over and beating him for the titles. The first Infamous game. I didn't play. I never played the first Infamous game. I can play it. It's on PS Plus. The little thing, but I never played too much of it. Does Cole go back in time or go into the future and beat himself or something? Yeah, I don't see anyone agreeing to what happened tonight. Like everybody's in unison saying that this shouldn't have happened tonight. And it's weird because I don't do this. I don't talk about wrestling like this. I do on Twitter all the time, but I don't. I don't really like talking about WWE too much because I'm getting upset over nothing. I'm not even upset. I'm just like, why? Like, why? I don't understand it. Like, send the people home happy. Make your money. Do it all over again next year. Whatever. Um, whatever. I guess people are wishing death threats on Roman. I don't. I definitely don't do that. But it's just you know people are go take it a little bit too far. Asuka is playing her Steam Deck right now. She's playing Fallout 4. I'm about to do that. I wish I could stream off my Steam Deck, but it don't really make sense to do that when I have a computer. I don't even know what I'm gonna watch tonight. I've been catching up on people's Resident Evil streams, but I haven't beat the game myself, so I keep having to stop their streams where I'm at in the game because I don't want to get, I guess, not spoiled because the game, I've seen playthroughs of the older game, so I guess it wouldn't be spoilers, but just I guess just the new version of the game. I don't want to really see too much of it. And I've also seen people who are usually defending WWE and who are usually bringing down AEW. I see people actually on like the opposite side tonight. I see them criticizing WWE, which is good because it's if something is bad, it's bad. If something is good, it's good. But if something is good has haters, that means they're either jealous or I don't know. There's no reason to prey on someone's downfall, or to want or to wish something bad will happen to someone. There's no point. Just just go with it, or just stop. Like, just stop watching. I'm not gonna watch anymore. I'll catch up on their social media. I'll see something. Maybe I'll go back on YouTube, watch it. But watching live, I was gonna watch Raw tomorrow. So I was looking at tickets to go to the Staples Center, or whatever it's called now. But to go to Raw, but I was like, nah, it's not worth it. Especially now, it's not worth it. There's no point. The WWE sells their tickets in advance. People thought Cody Rhodes was gonna be champion going into Raw, which sells it out, which is not technically sold out because people are reselling their tickets. So I guess it is technically sold out. There'll just be empty seats if they can't sell those tickets. Um, they're selling them out on the thought of someone beating Roman, which is this is an age old thing. Like, this is a wrestling thing. It's not just a WWE thing. Companies have done it since the dawn of time. Um, Heels champion, sell a ticket, um, sell out pay per view, then sell the tickets for the next show, and then the champion, I mean, the heel retains, and then they get to go to the next show, boo the heel, want a babyface to come out, beat him, and then wash, rinse, and repeat. That booking is wash, rinse, and repeat in any wrestling company. It's the same way. Um, Jeez. Yeah, Finn has a nasty gash on his forehead. Was the top of his skull. That is not good, actually. I'm glad. I mean, I'm I'm upset that I looked at it that close. Um, yeah, when he got hit with the ladder earlier, like, he bumped, but then he was like, I saw him like, you can tell, like, if you've been watching this a long time, you can tell if it's something that should have happened or shouldn't have happened. So when he got hit, he bumped, and I saw him like had like a serious look on his face, like not a selling look. Like, he looked, and he did like he felt it. Maybe he felt like the a hole in his head, or the gash in his head, and he was like, okay, yeah, this isn't good. Because it's happened, like, that type of injury, especially with ladders like that. I've seen that happen so many times. That happened to Kurt Angle back in, I think, TNA. He got just a nasty cut on his head, and he's bald too, so there was no protection from hair or anything. So it was a cut on his head for, I'm pretty sure he might still have it, the scar. Um, yeah, not fun. Wrestling is a lot of things, but it's definitely not. There's definitely bodily harm. Definitely 100% bodily harm. I can attest to that. I've trained for. Um, it hurts, especially when things go wrong. Um, Bleeding, whether it be natural way or or the unnatural way. I'll leave it at that. Also affects you. Um, I'm not trying to read it too much into Cody's loss tonight. Also, like, I'm not saying like this is like the nail in the coffin of AEW, or if any AEW wrestlers want to go to WWE, they'll be treated the same as Cody. It's not that simple. I wouldn't read into his loss tonight as it being a jab at AEW, because for the most part, Cody Rhodes is a WWE wrestler. He has always been, ever since 2000, probably before 2007. I'm pretty sure he didn't start in 2007, but he was in the main roster in 2007. That's when he started on the main roster, and Um, so he's always been a WWE guy. Even when he left, he was a WWE guy. He got better. He learned more styles. He learned how to work better outside of WWE, and then when he went back, he brought everything with him, which is good because experience is a lot, and if you experience a lot of things, take a lot of things from everywhere you've been, makes you a better wrestler. Which is why I love Chris Jericho, I love Kenny Omega, I love wrestlers who reach out or not reach out, but who get out of their comfort zone, don't just wrestle in one place their whole life. John Cena, I love John Cena, but he only wrestled in WWE his whole career for the most part. Didn't really go outside of the states and wrestled. He didn't go to Mexico. He didn't go to Japan unless it was touring with WWE. He didn't learn their styles. He didn't become a better worker. He was for the most part the same worker from his first match to his final match. Well, last match. Basically the same worker. Same could be said about a lot of other WWE wrestlers, which I wish they had a better wrestling system. I wish they had like I don't know. I just their wrestling product is sometimes really good, but it's still their style. It's still them wrestling a WWE style, which is usually slow paced, some hot spots here and there, um, selling, working, but not working too fast. Um, big move. Uh, sometimes kick out, sometimes not kick out. Just flat out get the win. Tonight, this WrestleMania, there was a lot of kickouts, and finishers. Every match for the most part had a big kick out on a finisher, um, like of a person's finisher. AEW doesn't really do that. Like if Kenny Omega hits the one wing angel, you're not kicking out of it. If Hangman Page hits the buckshot, you're not kicking out of it. If Bryan Danielson doesn't do the psycho knee as a finish over there, he does submissions. So if he hits the knee, you're gonna kick out of it. The people are gonna kick out of it. At least if they're main event level. Um, they don't do buckshot lariat, 1-2 kick out. They don't do that. They do buckshot lariat. The person gets out of the ring, or buckshot lariat. Um, then they both go down, and then Hangman crawls, and then they kick out. Actually, I don't even know if they've ever done that, but they do things like that. They protect the finishers. Roman's finish isn't protected. He has to hit like 3 or 4 spears to win. Cody Rhodes' crossroads isn't protected anymore. He has to hit 3 of them in a row to win. Usually, I think if he would have hit that third one tonight, Roman would have kicked out anyway. Um, just to bury the finish. What else? I don't know. There's a lot of kickouts of finishers the last 2 days, which is what they usually. That's the WWE's like style of matches. They bury finishes. They really do. They shouldn't. Like there should only be one crossroads done, one spear done, one F5 done. Like tonight, like Brock did one F5, he won. Good. Um, Sami Zayn hit 3 haluva kicks yesterday. He probably should only did one, uh, and beat him. Like overdoing your finisher and then getting that kicked out of that doesn't that it's not a good thing to do that. They do it a lot too, which is weird because like I don't know. They don't really protect their moves over there compared to AEW. I don't know why I'm still talking about this. I'm tired. I'm done. I'm done talking about this company. I've wasted too many years. And I was legit a diehard WWE fan until I discovered things outside of WWE. I started watching TNA back in 2007, 2006. Started watching TNA 2006, 2007. Loved it. They're little 1 hour shows. I love them. I love watching those shows every week. Compared to WWE stuff, which was cool at the time. I watched everything. Well, I watched both of them. Started New Japan around 2013 or 20 no 2012 or 2013. I started watching New Japan. I think it was 2013. Um, Maybe it's 2014. I don't remember. Uh, Started going to indie shows. Started going to PWGs. Well, I don't really go out and do other independent shows, but I do love PWG. Um, there's more to wrestling outside of WWE. I've learned that for a while. WWE was my main company though. Like I would watch that over TNA some days. Um, Especially when TNA started to go head to head with Raw, I would watch Impact because like I wanted to see what they would do compared to WWE stuff. WCW when I was around during the Monday Night Wars, but I was only WWF guy. I'd never watched for WCW for the most part. I knew of people. I knew of Goldberg because I would see commercials with him on it. I would see the same thing. Hollywood Hogan, whatever. Um, I've been in this game a long time, but I've been burnt by this company too much for like the last more than 4 or 5 years, probably since they started doing all the Roman stuff. I've been burnt by these people too many times. Tonight is most likely the last straw. I say most likely because I'll probably watch something else if there's at some point. Um, it's just how hard is it to give people a good thing, something logical to happen. It is what it is though. It is what it is. Roman ain't putting the titles online until the next big show. He probably won't be at Backlash or any other pay per view until probably SummerSlam. I heard the rumor was Roman was taking like 4 months off until SummerSlam. So we'll see. We'll see. WWE's gonna do business, go do sell tickets despite not having the champion on it every week. Which is I guess a good thing for them because champion is never there. And they sell tickets regardless if he's on the shows recently or not anyway. But I'm done. I'm done talking about this tonight. I wanted to stream Resident Evil, but I ain't streaming that tonight. Maybe tomorrow. I'll probably try to stream a little earlier. Well, way earlier in the day. Probably around noon PST, noon Pacific. My throat is all jacked up because I went to a Ring of Honor show. I yelled a lot, cheered a lot, booed a lot. Had a fun time that night. Um, yeah, AEW wins again. They didn't even have to do anything. WWE does it to themselves. Like WWE does it with their own booking for AEW to win. But that's just a meme though. I like that. I love that gif. I love that video of Sting saying AEW wins again. It's funny. The Cody Rhodes picture obviously from tonight lost. Um Unfortunate. He was the guy. Um he even got like the blessing of Cena and did not happen the way it should have. But yeah, that'll be it for me tonight. I'll probably be back tomorrow with Resident Evil 4. Continuing that. Hopefully I can get it done soon. So I can get back to Metroid Prime. But yeah. Thank everybody for joining. I do appreciate it, and you guys have a good night.